So, hey everyone. Today we're going to be making a bot that gets you infinite money in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So, I remember the last video that I did this on was for Cyberpunk, making a bot there, and I think there was an issue that a lot of people ran into in that, you know, they're not experienced programmers, they're not sure how things work. So, I'm going to start out just explaining like how do you get started. And for this we're going to be using Python. So if you go to python.org, you can click on this little downloads button and it will provide you with the latest version for Windows, for Linux, for Mac OS, for other, like pretty much every OS that you can think of that wasn't like made by your friend is supported. So what you need to do is just download the latest stable version. In this case, I have this tested on Python 3.9.4, so I don't have this 3.9.5. So if you want to make sure, like 100%, that it works exactly the same as mine, you can download 3.9.4 right here. Clicking on that. And again, we've got a Mac installer, we've got a Windows installer for 32 and 64-bit. And we have the gzipped and XC compressed for Linux. So, next, when we actually get into the code, I'm just going to do this in the Python idle. The reason I'm doing this in the idle and not in something else is not because I think the idle is better or anything like that. It's because I want to make sure that this is absolutely as simple as possible. If you have a favorite editor, do it in that editor. Some editors that I can recommend. Actually, here, let's open up a new window so I can show you where to get those. Let's look here. So we got Visual Studio Code. Again, this is available on Mac, it's available on Windows, it's available on Linux. So you're good. You're covered everywhere. Another one is Atom, which this is for Windows. It's more of a text editor, but I like it. It's nice and customizable, really, really simple. Those are some text editors and some code editors that I can recommend that are really good. Yeah. So then let's get into the actual code. What you're going to do is make a new Python file, and here's how we're going to do this. We're going to import time. We're going to import threading, and then we get into one of the hardest concepts for everybody. You know, what does this importing mean? What we do is, if you're on Windows, you can press Windows R. If you're on Mac, I'm not 100% sure, but I think you just open up the terminal. Oh, yeah. You just open up the terminal on a Mac and make sure that you're in your root directory, but you just open up a command line. If you aren't sure how to do that and don't want to try anything, if you start typing command in Windows, you come up with this command prompt. It's virtually the same. But here, all you'll do, once you have Python installed, and make sure that you check the little box adding Python to your path, you can type pip install and then a package that you want. We don't have to do that for these two because these two packages come with Python. But for these ones, we want pyinput.keyboard import, and we want listener, we want key code, and capitalization is important on these. We want key and we want controller. Import pyauto.gui and import pydirect input. Perfect. So for these three, we actually do need to pip install them. So I'll show you how to do that. Pyinput And you'll see on mine requirement already satisfied means I already have it. But on yours, you should be able to get through this. If you, for whatever reason, don't get through it, I want you to copy and paste whatever red text shows up and put that, just like search for that on the internet. Pip install auto GUI. I actually don't know if I have that one. Oh, nice. No, I do. Pip install direct input. Now the reason I'm doing this is I want to make sure that I can put some power into some gamers' hands that aren't maybe as familiar with coding or how games work in the background, so that they can really get as much enjoyment out of those games as they want. So beyond this, I'm really not gonna explain a whole lot of coding concepts. So if you want a crash course in coding, you're gonna have to look that up on your own, but I will teach you how to make this program. So for this class, we'll call it the MoneyMaker. And we don't want this to inherit from threading.thread. And then self and delay. Cool. We're gonna have it super itself. MoneyMaker. I have the auto clicker from Cyberpunk up. So it's virtually the same program. And in that video, I told you guys that it's very flexible. This is supposed to show you how flexible it is. So self.delay equals delay. Self.running equals false, and then self.program running equals true. Dev start making money. So, for anyone curious, all of our methods that we're putting into our class here are going to take self as an argument. Running equals true. Dev stop making money. If I can type. So we're going to run the stop making money program if we want to exit. Still getting used to my new keyboard. So for any of you wondering, why do we have both a running and a program running? This is why. We want to be able to have this whole thing running without necessarily making money, because we don't want to just start it and have it pressing the keyboard and clicking the mouse and doing whatever we want it to be doing while we get ourselves set up. We want to be able to have a trigger to make it start and stop without necessarily closing down the program. So that's why we have a running and a program running. Now for this, what we want specifically, and this is the reason for anybody who's a little bit more savvy and they realize we've imported 3 different GUI handlers on here. PyInput is my go-to normally, but PyInput uses what are called virtual key presses, virtual commands that it sends to Win32. What that means is it doesn't work in all games, whereas PyDirect Input, which is made by another YouTuber called I think Learn Code by Gaming, and PyAuto GUI, which is made by Al Swigart, the creator of Automate the Boring Stuff with Python. These are both two guys that are really cool. I invite you to check them out. PyDirect Input leverages actual key presses, which can be dangerous in some contexts, but in the context of gaming, it generally is not. So what do we want it to actually do? PyDirect input dot key down. Oh, let me actually show you what we want it to do. So let's jump into Valhalla real quick. There's a glitch that, and this is, as you can see, I'm wearing the Wrath of the Druids DLC stuff. I've completed that. Oh, shit. We want these beggars in London to be nice to us, and we want it to be during the daytime. So we may have to wait for a second. The premise is, if we give a beggar 5 coins... What's he doing? Of course. Oh man. Okay, I will let this wait itself out for a bit. But the premise is, if we give a beggar 5 coins, he'll give us a rune that we can sell. And if we activate Sunin, and then deactivate Sunin, then we will get to keep both the coins and the rune that we can sell. So what we're going to do is press E to have the beggar take the coins. We're going to press it for just long enough for the game to register that we're pressing it. And then we're going to unpress it, press the V immediately, or I guess after a short delay so that we can actually press other things. After a short delay, we'll press V, and V will activate Sunin, and then we will press V again to get Sunin back down. So I'm going to let that just work itself out for a second. That's why this key down E is important. So then we'll do time.sleep. This is why we imported time. 0.15 is good. That's long enough for the game to register. And then PyDirect input.key up. E. Perfect. And then we want time.sleep self.delay. And we're just going to go ahead and copy this twice, and then we will change these to V. See, this is very, very easy. 0.1. So we want it checking every single millisecond whether or not self is running. And that is our whole class. So let's go up here and let's make our variables real quick. Delay equals 1. Stop key equals key code. Character equals. And you can have this be literally whatever you want, but I would recommend that you put something that is not currently being used in the game for another control. So that's why you wouldn't want to use M, because that's your map function. You don't want to use I, because that is your inventory function. You know, so I'm going to do 0, like the numeral, and then the exit key equals we'll do 9 just to keep things really simple. Okay, so now what do we need? We need keyboard equals controller. Click thread is our MoneyMaker. Right, that's what we named it. It's not auto clicker. Yeah. Cool. Click thread dot start. Cool. So that runs the start. Cool. I'm going to change this to money thread so I can keep track of it. And this is why you would want to do it in one of those editors as opposed to just in the idle like this, is because they help you with predictive text so you don't make as many mistakes as I have. It just generally makes it easier so you don't have to retype things over and over again. I would love to do it on here, but again, I wanted to make sure it was as simple as possible. Okay. So we're just going to save this on the desktop as Valhalla money.py. You can see it, there it is, it shows up. It's running right now. If we press 0, exit key is not defined. Nice. Okay. Oh, we gotta kill it. Exit key is what we wanted. So that's a little bit of error handling. So let's save it again. Oh, too many V's that got typed because it was automatically doing key presses. So if we press 0 in here, see, it's typing V every second and E. E, V, V, E, just over and over and over again. Doesn't have to move around at all, but if it did, we could make it, like if we wanted to make this more complex to the point where it could, you know, it could run to the shop after a certain number of times because it's right there, and maybe, you know, sell stuff to the shop owner so that you don't have to go over and click a bunch of times, we can also do that. In fact, I'll probably make a little bit longer video later, not a live, that has that going for it. Oh, here's this so that you guys can actually see everything that's going on here. Cool. So yeah, if you couldn't read anything before, here it is. I'll give you a second. Let's jump into Valhalla and wait for these beggars so you can see this program actually in action. Just run around for a sec. In case any of you are wondering, I strongly recommend both this game and the Wrath of the Druids DLC. It's really cool. This spear that I have, the Gay Bollag, in my right hand, that's what it looks like. It has this really sick effect where basically it, if I can actually find it in here. There it is. Let's actually the details of it. Lightning shocks the enemy after 3 consecutive hits. It deals health and stun damage, making this probably the most OP weapon in the whole game, because it's like a combination of Gungnir and Mjolnir. Except it doesn't have as long of reach as Gungnir, so dual wielding it with Gungnir is, you know, best of both worlds. We are almost here. Just gotta wake up. No, just gonna keep sleeping. Okay, well, let's run around for a bit until it actually happens. Because I want to show you this program in effect, so you can have a little bit of confidence in it. Jump up on top of this building. Hey, they're awake. Perfect, this is what we want. Oh, also, for all of those of you who have played the game but aren't sure, so here's all of England's map. This is where I'm at. It's in London. The only reason I'm here and not somewhere else, because this does work with pretty much any beggar, is because there's a shop right next door. It's just right around the corner. So that's the reason why. Alright, so here we are. We are in position. So let's exit and let's run our program. If you didn't know, I'm pressing F5. You can also run it by just clicking on run and run module. So program is running. Go back into the game. And we press our key, whatever key we picked. For my program, it's the number 0.
Your generosity
Gives them keys.
Be my eyes, Sunan.
See, these are my hands up here. I'm not doing this.
Go, my eyes.
And this will go and it'll stay for as long as you want. You can make you as much money as you want. And each one of these chained fury rings sells for 58 coins.
Why?
So you're giving away 0 money and you're getting 58 coins every single time it happens.
Your generosity.
So let's give it a sec and I can show you exactly how that works.
I need your eyes, my friend.
Your generosity.
Why, thank
Yeah, and as you can see, the only real caveat to this The only
Your
thing that could
generosity.
limit you in the slightest is when are the beggars awake.
Why, thank you.
Also, don't attack the beggars
What
or
do you
anyone
see?
else around.
Your generosity.
And actually, so I did find
Thank you.
this. I'm gonna press 9 so it
Thank you,
stops.
friend.
I did find one problem. Sometimes this cat will come over here to where the beggar is, and you will pet the cat. It doesn't really interfere, you know, it doesn't break the program or make it so anything doesn't work. All it does is it makes it so you won't get money for a second. So maybe this beggar over on the left is actually the prime one to do it at. So once you have collected as much as you want, you just run over here to the shop owner
What can I tempt you with?
and
Always
you
good.
go into the sell column. Looks like he's even selling one of these. I gave him too many. And you just
only
sell
buying
each
these because
one
I
of
like
these for 58. Easy as that. Thank you guys so much for watching this. I really hope it helps somebody out. And I